morning, and thank you for joining us on this SAG-AFTRA live stream on YouTube. To stay informed about all of our live stream and video events, we invite you to subscribe to our SAG-AFTRA channel on YouTube. You can go ahead and do that right now. We'll be pausing throughout the presentation as we have with us Destiny Bradford and Rory Burton to translate the programming into American Sign Language. Destiny and Rory will be switching off periodically throughout today's events. The presentation will begin in just a moment. Please note that we've received many questions from members and viewers in advance of today's program, and we've incorporated as many as possible into our discussion. As a reminder, today's program is being recorded and you can watch the replay right here on SAG-AFTRA's YouTube channel, along with a lot more great content. We invite you to follow the conversation on social media using our official hashtags, #SAG-AFTRA and #StopTheHate. And now, without further ado, please give a warm welcome to today's host, SAG-AFTRA President Gabrielle Carteris.
Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Welcome. It is our final day of Stop the Hate Week Summit. It has been really tremendously powerful, and I want to thank you for tuning into our programs this week. We've had some incredible conversations. Wednesday, we had incredible panels yesterday, so I encourage you please to watch them or replay them if you have a time to do it. You can go to youtube.com/SAGAFTRA. That's youtube.com/SAGAFTRA, and you can visit sagaftra.org/stopthehate for additional details. You can also be part of the conversation, which would be really incredible on social media with the hashtags. Please use #StopTheHate and #SAGAFTRA. So to kick off our first program of the day, I'm going to turn it over to SAG-AFTRA National Executive Director David White, who has been instrumental in advancing the union's diversity and inclusion initiatives, and he's a fierce advocate, always has been, for all of the members. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Gabrielle. And of course, so have you. Just terrific work. It's wonderful to be here. Hello to everyone. It is impossible to have a conversation about diversity and racism without talking about implicit bias. It's an ugly truth that makes people uncomfortable. We all have them, and they compound every day, day after day, year after year, to create false narratives about different communities. Today, we're going to be focused on Black Americans, and the way Blacks are often portrayed and described in the media reinforces and fuels these biases. The impact on the Black community has been harmful and has been painful. I have felt this myself, as so many have. So how do you counter the negative impact of implicit bias? That's ground that we get to cover today in our discussion. Oscar-nominated director Kevin Wilson Jr. used a fresh lens to explore the full richness of the Black experience in a breathtaking Procter Gamble sponsored short film project called Widen the Screen. A platform, he uses this as a platform to reclaim the beauty of Black life in film. We are very fortunate to have with us today for this summit, Kevin, who will share with us how he directed the series, and he's going to give us some behind the scenes insight on his experience working with a predominantly Black cast and crew. Kevin will also be joined by Al-Teron Williams, one of the featured actors in this discussion. Al-Teron is an actor who recently appeared in Procter Gamble's Widen the Screen with Kevin, and that was premiered, by the way, on the 2021 NAACP Image Awards. Al-Teron has also just finished a Netflix movie, They Clone Tyrone, and he can be seen in BET's Tales, The Bobby Brown Story, and Dead of Night. Additional television projects include Homicide Hunter and Snapped, Killer Couples. We love to see him working. We love to see his work, and we're very grateful that the two of you are here. Welcome. Kevin, let me turn this over to you.
Thank you, David, and thank you to SAG-AFTRA and P&G for inviting Al-Teron and myself to join this event, join the week of events that you all have put on so that we can talk about our process of making Widen the Screen, a project that we're both deeply proud of and passionate about. Widen the Screen is a short film that was made to kick off a larger initiative by Procter & Gamble to address stereotypical images of Black people in advertising, film, and television. It also addresses the issues of diversity, both in front of and behind the camera. The purpose of it is to show you what those stereotypical images are, reveal the implicit biases that one may have about the individuals that are in the spot or who are being depicted in the spot, and then to subvert those images and show you what we're referring to as the fullness of Black life, the joy, what life really is and what reality really is for Black people, something that we feel is not always fully found its way into mainstream cinema and mainstream television and mainstream advertising in a meaningful way. And as David mentioned, it premiered during the NAACP Image Awards this year. And since that time, people all over the world have been sharing it and having conversations about what it made them feel. And we've really been deeply moved by the response to the spot. I was recently signed to Chelsea Pictures for commercial representation. And about a month or two after really getting my career kicked off with them, I got a call from my reps there, and a script was sent to me that was written by a Gray agency, Gray New York. And they had partnered with Procter & Gamble to address stereotypical images in Black cinema and Black television. And when I read the script, I was completely blown away. I was blown away because this was a conversation that I've been having amongst my group of filmmaker friends, and conversations that I've been having with my family, just about why it's so important that we depict Black people in their fullness on television and film, because it has real life ramifications. The images that we portray, the images that we project, has a real impact outside of the screen. And so when I saw what Procter & Gamble and what Gray were trying to do, I instantly became passionate about it and wanted to do anything that I could to be a part of the project. Really, it was three things that really kind of jumped out at me, three things that they were trying to do that really moved me. The first was that they were trying to address issues that have really been impacting the Black community for decades. How we're depicted, how we look, how we and how those depictions affect real life people, and how we see the impact in the news and the media every day. We're kind of seeing it play out right now in Minneapolis. The second is that they were interested in hiring an all Black crew. And I thought that was very important, just because I had recently come off a project where we were telling a Black story, and I was one of the only Black members of the crew on the entire set. And usually when we ask for Black crew members or Black women, Black men to join the crew, the response we get, especially when it's a union project, is that we can't find anyone. We just want to hire the best person for the job. And P&G, stressing the importance of having a predominantly Black crew and a predominantly Black union crew, it just kind of reinforced how I felt, which was that we're out there, we're talented, we're in the unions, we're interested in working, we have the expertise, we have the talent, and we just need the opportunity. And finally, the third thing that got me really excited was that they were not trying to attach Black humanity and the demand to respect Black people to the success of Black people. It wasn't we're human because we are lawyers, doctors, and famous actors, but it was just we should be respected and loved and adored, and we should be cherished just simply for being human. We should be respected just because we love and we have joy and we spend time with our families. And so that is what we sought to depict. It is a message and an endeavor that I could get behind 100%. And I'm really excited to share it with you now. So you can go ahead and roll the commercial.
if you think you know what happens next. Ask yourself why. These are the Black stories we've been shown. A narrow view that limits our understanding. But there's so much more to see. The full picture of Black life. Let's widen the screen so we can widen our view.
So thank you for watching it. One of the things that I felt was really important to understand about Widen the Screen and my approach to directing was that widening the screen to me as a director meant that the images that we are seeking to show have been there. You know, it's not something that we need to recreate, that we need to kind of drum up out of nowhere. It's something that's been there for decades, and that we just need to widen our screen and so that we can see what's already existed. And in the process of researching for the project, when I was putting my pitch together to pitch to Gray Agency and Procter Gamble, I was looking for images of Black joy. And I'm from the South. I'm from a town in North Carolina called Durham. And what I found when I was doing my research was a group of images that was shot in 1941, when there was still segregation, when Black people had to go to one school, when white people had to go to another school. Black people couldn't go into restaurants. We all know what those images are. But the images that I found were of young Black kids riding bikes and laughing and being joyful and loving each other. And they were all laughing hysterically, looking into the camera. And that was so beautiful to me. And what that said to me was that even though we've not seen this depicted in the media, even though we've not seen this depicted in film and television, this has always been here. And so what we sought to do with the commercial, what we sought to do when we were putting everything together, were find collaborators and find actors and find people who just naturally embody that spirit of joy, this joy that's kind of been there throughout the decades, and the joy we can feel when we're talking to them. See, because to us, it's bigger than acting. When I met with Al-Teron Williams, when we were first talking about casting him in the project, his smile, his spirit, everything just kind of resonated joy and love and peace. And that is just kind of what we were wanting people to feel when they watched it. So it was more than just, when we were casting the project, it was more than just finding actors who could be serious and then who could be funny or be fun. There was people who really kind of felt and aligned with what we were trying to say, and people who just embodied that natural, peaceful, joyous, loving presence. And so we were really excited to find Al-Teron. We were casting the project. We worked with a casting director out of Atlanta where we shot, and they sent us many headshots and submissions. And for all of us at Gray, at Chelsea, Al-Teron just kind of jumped out at us. It was a no-brainer for us, just by looking at him, by looking at his headshot, by looking at this, his submission, the stories that he had to tell about who he was and what he felt about what we were doing. And so we were very happy that he submitted, and we were very happy that people who saw the commercial resonated with who he was and his character, and we're really happy to have him here today. Al-Teron, what's going on, brother?
Hey, what's going on, champ? Like I tell you all the time, man, I sincerely appreciate you, Gray, Chelsea Pictures, everybody for bringing me on board. Just to even touch on how the process or what it meant to me. When I initially saw the script, I was so frantic because I was on set for something else. So I had no idea that it was even a story of this magnitude that was going to be told. So I just treated it like any other audition. I just wanted to reach my scene objective, and I was just going to leave it behind me. But when it came back to the callback, I began to dive a little bit into it, and I'm like, oh, wow, we might be onto something here. And I did the callback, and then I actually got a chance to come face to face with you. And then when you gave me that improv situation, I love improv, but the improv situation was you just picked your niece up from school, and she just got ridiculed about her hair by two white little girls, and now we see them walking across the car. So what am I going to do? So when I tapped into that moment, I really resonated with it, because I personally have put so much emphasis on trying to conform to societal norms because I want to survive. I not only want to survive, I want to succeed. And when I think about those who are successful in this industry, it's rare you see someone who looks like me. And so to see what you guys were trying to do, I literally felt at home, you know what I mean? So it's just like, I'm thankful, I'm honored. And this is a story that's honestly going to be around forever, because we won't ever get everyone to agree, you know what I mean, with our ideology of us being human. I don't think we're asking for anything more than that. We're all human. So we should all be given the same fair chance. You know what I mean? So
I think, one of the beautiful things, that I think it was about working with you, and we spent a lot of time together in the car shooting, was that this wasn't just a commercial for you, or for me. It was something that really meant something, because both of us, and I know you have a story to tell, we've experienced the impact of negative stereotypical images in our real lives. But before we get into that, let's show some behind the scenes footage. We can roll that, and then we can kind of talk more about some of the experiences that you had in your real life that you brought to the set. So
Okay.
you can go ahead and roll the BTS. Today we are making a film about subverting stereotypes in cinema when it comes to Black people and the portrayal of Black people in television and film.
For me, widening the screen is basically taking a look at life in the middle for Black people, a normalization of Black life to allow people to see themselves in Black life.
We're going to embrace the whole culture. Once we start seeing different avenues and different spectrums, I feel like the boundaries get pushed.
It's always great when the cast and when our crew is representative of us. It's mostly, a Black crew.
As the producer of the film, I primarily was responsible for coordinating a lot of the crew and talent that we hired for the production, from director to DP and our editor. And this is the first time in my career of almost 20 years of producing film that I've seen that.
I remember being in grad film school, man, and my second year of film school, there was a really big movement to have our faculty and staff address the curriculum and the lack of Black films in the curriculum, because there were students in the school who, for one reason or another, really couldn't understand the impact of the images that they put in their movies. So there was one student who had cast a Black man to play a drug dealer in their film. And then there was another student who had cast a Black woman to portray a prostitute. And in both of these movies, these Black characters were in some way dealing with other white characters who were protagonists, and the Black characters were antagonists. And it really kind of frustrated a lot of the students in the program. And we had a lot of conversations about this, because we felt that it was important to really hit it head on, because film schools, for those who do go to film school, are putting filmmakers out and sending them straight to Hollywood to make movies, television, commercials, movies. And so if you don't learn when you're in these programs what these images mean and the power behind them, then you're going to take the biases that you have, and the lack of knowledge that you have, and you're going to apply them to films that reach millions of people, and then the cycle is going to continue. And I just remember a friend that I have who's not from the United States, and we met in school. I remember them talking about being from a country where they'd never met anyone who was Black before. And the only idea that she was able to form about who Black people were was from the movies and television and commercials that she watched. And so when she came, she already had ideas about who I was and who other Black people were in the program, just because of what she had seen in television, film, and in advertising. And so really that kind of hit home the just power of the image, you know? And I've had experiences where I've come in contact with people and have done nothing wrong, and they've crossed the street while I was walking down the street, you know? I'm wondering if you've had experiences, you know, that you can talk about, you know, where someone may have kind of felt some way about you, and you knew that was because of how you and people like you are portrayed in the media and in television and film.
Oh, of course. I mean, if we're speaking about just real life, I mean, you go anywhere that's not in a sense a safe zone, and you can just tell energy shift. It's just like that moment where you may be walking down the street and someone hits that lock button because you walk by, and in your mind you're like, dude, I'm not even worried about you. But at the same time, quickly it's automatically dismissed because you know why they did it. They're literally playing into the typical stereotype that's against us. I think about whenever I'm pulled over, my mom has me FaceTime her for every second I'm in the car because we never know how it's going to end up. There's so many different stories of people who are, first of all, human, and their lives are taken because someone else was scared, and they have the power. You know, I don't want to turn this into a police brutality thing, but
No, let's talk about it, bro.
Let's talk about it. At the end of the day, when you think about these people who are taken away, and then they have these BS excuses of, I thought it was my taser, or I was scared, or that's someone's son, that's someone's brother, or that's someone's daughter even, because it's not just men. That's another thing. Like it's this, the color. And of course, we're trying to break what has already happened. So we're demanding equality right now, but there's still a reality that's already happened. So we just got to fight a little harder. But when I think about Widen the Screen, it was such a phenomenal piece, because like I sometimes find myself going through just to scan comments, because I just be curious of what we did to people. And when you go to read, people say some of the wildest things in regards to, this is what we needed, this should be a movie, this should be on Super Bowl. People are in tears. Like my phone has honestly been going crazy, and not even like my friends, more so people who know of me. And it's like I've been reached out by college universities. They want me to come speak. Police academies are trying to implement this into some type of curriculum or something that's mandatory to be seen.
Wow.
It's bigger than I could have even imagined. So it's
I feel like I have an idea, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. You know, because I've met a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people who said they were in tears as well, including people from the school I went to. Why do you think people were moved to tears by this, man?
Personally, I think people were moved to tears because, in a sense, within how we live every day, it's what we've been screaming. People go to work every day. People have responsibilities, they have families, they have a heart. Like I keep saying, we're human. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I feel like in that 2 minutes, don't get me started on Marshall Ali, but in that 2 minutes, we literally, I feel like, spoke for the entire race. You know what I mean? This wasn't about like, it's me inside of that, the character, that really is who I once was, or even people I know, like on both sides of the spectrum. I have a goddaughter, I have a niece, I have just family, you know, a grandmother, I have everything. But before that door opened, everyone who watched it thought that I was doing a drug deal or doing some type of malicious activity. But why? Like, why? Why does this say that? Why does a chain say that I'm not human, or I'm aggressive? Or so I feel like we literally spoke the truth of the entire race with that one, Kev.
I'd like to recognize the team at Gray, Rondell, and Ben Howard, because one of the things that, you know, Ben and Rondell were really pushing for us to do, and one thing I'm glad that we were able to do, was really show you with your family in the context of the spot. And you said something about it earlier. You said, you know, yes, yeah, you know, I may walk by your car and you may lock your door, but like I have a family, I have a daughter, niece, you know. So I think, you know, that last shot of you walking through the house and dapping up your uncle, and, you know, you see the, you know, the fish and the cake and all those things, and you see you hug your niece. A lot of people think it was your daughter.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that was my daughter.
But we see you hug your niece. That's so important. And the reason why it's important for me as a filmmaker is because we've seen so many images. You know, we either see Black folks as drug dealers or what have you, or murderers and terrorizing people, or we see them as these super successful executives or doctors or lawyers. And you know, and Gemma Williams hit it really on the head. He said, we're trying to show life in the middle. You know what I mean? We're trying to show life for us when we go home, when we interact with the people we care about. And so you really did a really wonderful job. First of all, the chemistry was wonderful through the roof. And I know we were working really hard in the wardrobe fittings to really build that chemistry, but it was a no-brainer. It seems like this is just, you know, this isn't just a character pretend, you know, seems like who you are in your everyday life. Can you talk about just like your family, and if you saw anyone, any of your family members in the family that we built on the screen?
Yeah, oh yeah. I saw, so I have a goddaughter named Journey, and she actually has a birthday coming up. And I also have a little cousin named Amaya. So when I literally, the grandmother as well, her smile was so electrifying. Like just the energy on set. Like I'm telling you, the casting was so phenomenal.
Grandmother was portrayed by Diane Harvey, everybody. Sorry about that.
Diane Harvey. I called her Grammy because that's what I call my grandmother. So I didn't even take the time.
Sorry to interrupt.
But nah, it's cool. So it was just a situation where I literally felt, and then that's the thing, because we're all playing for the same team, that was my family. At the end of the day, with that kind of message, y'all are my family now. So literally, that's why if you remember, I would always say, yo, Kev, how was that? Am I doing what you need? Let me know, man. Don't hesitate. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to reach the scene objective and ensure that this message gets told properly. But everyone played by the same rules. And help me refresh my memory. Who was the niece played by? Because she was phenomenal.
Yeah, her name is Sarah.
Sarah, and it was a long shoot night, so she almost was falling asleep. But once we got into it, and I'm just a bubbly person, so I'm naturally going to awaken the giant inside of people around me. So once we got to getting that dance move going, y'all let me live with that one, and it was love, man. I'm blown away, man. Just not even about me, but just because we did it, like we did it, and it's just the start.
There was a moment, man, and we're gonna say this, and I know we don't have too much more time, but I want to say this. There was a moment we were on set, and I just kind of want to talk about working with you for a second. You know, we were in a really kind of tense night because we were, you know, trying to get everything, and the moment was tense as well. We're outside in front of the car. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, something like that, and you asked me while I was waiting to set up a shot, how was my spirit, you know? And that kind of changed everything for me, just in terms of my approach to directing the spot. You know, it was less about getting the shot and more about making sure that my spirit and everything was in check so that people would feel and understand what we were trying to say. And I'm just curious, man, like, are you in tune with your like spirit and emotion, like when you, with what you brought to this project, and really any project, but this one in particular? And what was it that made you kind of ask that?
Well, for one, I saw, and I wouldn't say you were up against a lot, but everything was happening so fast. People are pulling you in so many different directions. And not once did I see someone genuinely ask you how you were doing. I'm just chilling in the car. And I mean, at this point, I feel like you were a friend. So I'm like, yo, hey, Kev, hold up real quick, man. How's your spirit doing? You good? You need anything? Like, you know what I mean? Let me know, because I want to help you. I don't really look at titles. I don't think about someone's a PA or something. Man, we all playing for the same team. And to answer your other question, I am in tune with my spirituality. I'm also a believer in God. But at the end of the day, I also believe in energy. You know what I mean? And you can't really fake the funk. And I'm always gonna try to ensure that we're all, and when I say we're all, whoever I'm around is either on the same playing field or even better, because you being better is only gonna push me to become a better version of myself. So I just wanted to send you love, peace, positive energy, and light in that moment, and let you know you had someone on your team.
And one more thing, I just want to say thank you, man. That really speaks to for me as a director, why it's so important to have people who look like me on set. You know what I mean? People who understand the cultural experience that we have, that we're trying to depict, and just people who just kind of, share the love. You know what I mean, on set, because it's not just about getting a shot. It's not just about, getting our days and all these things. While that's all very important, you know, between yourself and Kenton Cummings, the line producer, and Ben Howard and Rondell and all these folks, it really did feel like a family. And that was important. I directed a lot of stuff over the last 10 years. I never worked with what we had, which was a 96% of the crew was people of color, 92% were Black, 40% were women. I'd never worked under that environment before, and everyone was on their A game. And you asking that question just kind of hit the nail on the head for me about why it's important for me to be in a culture like that, because it's not just about making the film, it's not just about making the commercial, but it's also about feeling the love while you're doing it. You know what I mean? And so I really appreciate you for that. I think David's about to jump in. I know we're probably running out of time.
Thank you, Ken.
Look, here's the situation though. We could listen to the two of you for hours. Like the energy of the project is coming through in your conversation. You two are just showing the fullness and the richness that you displayed on screen, which is just remarkable for anyone who hasn't seen the Widen the Screen. These episodes, this project is just magnificent. I felt it then, I feel it now. It's beautiful. Listening to you, waking up the giant, Al-Teron, you wake up the giant in all of us. Brother, really showing true beauty and the richness that you're trying to bring on screen. You're bringing here in this discussion. I cannot tell you how much we appreciate your being here, and genuinely how sorry I am to have to bring the conversation to a close so that we respect the time.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for the art and the storytelling that you're bringing. I speak for all of us. We're just amazed, blown away by your energy, your vision, your craft, just amazing. So thank you. For all of us and for the audience, please know we are back at 10:15 a.m. Pacific, 1:15 Eastern, and that's when we will have our next panel, Normalizing Diversity. So we're going to take a break. Thank you again so much, Kevin, Al-Teron. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, SAG. Thank you, everybody.
Really beautiful. Thank you. Very powerful.